Rob Kendall speaking with Tyler Bless, the head coach of the Plainfield Quakers. Coach, how's it going?
Good. How are you doing?
Hey, we're doing just great. All right, so let's start with last week. Big win on the road, or at home rather, against Lafayette Harrison. And let's start with kind of what everybody was talking about, that decision to go for two at the end of the ball game. You guys decided to make the move. You did. You put it in. Take us through why you decided to go for two and put the game on the line.
I didn't really ever think of it as like, okay, we got to go for two to win this football game. It was like that was just kind of what um, I guess our philosophy is in terms of anytime that we score a touchdown, we're gonna line up in our PAT formation, and it's truly a numbers game. If they give us the right numbers to one side or the other, or man coverage to our outside receiver, like we're gonna trust our players and we're gonna go execute. So it wasn't necessarily like I felt like we wanted to go and win it right here, but it felt like we definitely had momentum on our side. During that drive that led up to the touchdown, we faked a punt right around midfield, I think on 4th and 2 or 4th and 3, and our punt team executed that. So kind of just had a good feeling about it, but also you got to trust your players and you got to kind of at times do what you think's best for the program, and that's what we did. And obviously we came out on top in terms of it being the right decision, but even if it didn't work, I felt good about how our defense was playing to get another stop to maybe go down and score to maybe get a game-winning touchdown or a field goal. So was very pleased with the outcome, obviously, but it's truly a numbers game for us in terms of how many guys are going to line up to that side and just go out and execute and trust your players at the end of the day.
How quick do you make a decision like that? Obviously, you don't have a lot of time.
On the headset, Matthew Stewart's our defensive coordinator. He's up in the press box. He also teaches math, so that's a bonus. But it's between the communication's really between him and myself, and then Kevin Salone, our special teams coordinator. And I kind of told Kevin, like, hey, we just need to line up in it and see what they give us. And if they give us the numbers, we need to run it. If they would have lined up differently and maybe I don't want to use maybe if they lined up and it wasn't there, we would have just brought in our PAT and we would have kicked the PAT and made it a tied football game. So it's a quick decision, but it's not one of those decisions that's just strictly driven on emotion and I just want to go do it because I just that's what I wanted to do. We were going to play it how we anticipated it in our minds in terms of making the right call given what the numbers were.
All right, so let's talk about the obviously start of the game didn't go the way you guys wanted. That's kind of 2 weeks in a row you guys have been behind, but on the good side of things, you guys have been able to come back. So talk a little bit about the starts. Do they bother you at all, or do you just say, hey, this is the way football is sometimes?
A little bit of both. I think what bothers us as a coaching staff is, guys not necessarily taking the assignments and the techniques that they've been taught all week long to the game. So a little bit of what I mean by that is just, we've got to be able to set an edge on defense against a team like that where they're going to try to run jet sweep. And I felt like that first drive, we got them in a third down situation, and we were able to maybe not execute that third down that we wanted to. They went down our sidelines and had a big run that kind of got them going a little bit on offense. But I just thought some of it was, I don't know if it was nerves or just the speed of their offense with the backs that they have. But for us on offense, it was more of a lack of execution on our part more than us getting stopped by them. We had a nice drive going that very first drive for us, and then kind of stubbed our toe with a first down pass play that kind of got Hunter moved from the pocket, and I think we ended up losing 3 yards on first down, and then had a false start on offense. So kind of got back behind the chains on second down, and then after that it was, we kind of fizzled out and tried a field goal that we were not able to make. So I don't know if it was anything that you could put your a finger on that was the answer, but certainly something we would like to address with our team on how we want to correct that and make our starts better. But it's not one of those things where we're seeing panic on the sidelines and kids losing their minds in terms of, there's just what we try to do and tell our kids is, there's so much football left. You're going to continue to get chances. You just got to settle in and execute. So we'll continue to be better at that.
Defensively, you got to be pretty proud of your kids. That we were joking during the first drive. It was like, how could this offense that Harrison was running be so effective? They never throw the football. And yet we kind of saw it with Notre Dame yesterday too, against Navy, who runs a similar offense. They looked totally confused the first time. And then after that, it's fine. Your kids really did a great job of adjusting.
Yeah. I mean, it's one of those things where you get the speed involved, you get a jet sweep involved on whether or not they're giving the jet or they're handing it off and running inside zone, or is it quarterback power? But I felt like our defense and our defensive coaches made great adjustments at halftime and were really able to, kind of stop them from really ever getting across midfield to really press it in the red zone. But it was more so of just, that's an offense that you're not going to see week in and week out. So it might take a drive or two to really settle in and kind of understand of the nuances of what they're trying to do to us.
Let's talk about your weapons offensively. It was great seeing the team for the first time in person. I mean, you got Starnes, you got Bowie, you got Vanderbush, you got a host of weapons which Newell can distribute the ball. It's got to be good as a coach, especially a guy calling the offense in your case, to say, look, if they're going to zone in on one guy or one guy just doesn't have it tonight, we got 2, 3, 4 other options to be able to pick up big yardage.
Yeah, I mean, we're very blessed with the playmakers that we have on offense, and we're very fortunate to have a 3-year starter at quarterback to kind of lead all of us in terms of what we want to do in the passing game, but also we've been able to run Hunter a little bit these last 2 games just to feel like he's got the athleticism and he has the size to do that. So it's a good problem to have. I would love to get all of our kids as many catches and handoffs as much as possible. But, that was a really good defense we saw on Friday night. They did some things that, we were expected to see. And then they also those kids played hard, and then they wanted to, find a way to stop us. And I think the proudest thing the most proud I was about was just how our kids continue to kind of trying to keep drives going or try to keep it, within a 14-point game or 7-point game. We didn't really panic. We took some shots where I felt like we wanted to press them vertically, but we just continued to make plays and continued to have guys show up and fight until the very end. And like I said, we found a way to win, which is the most important thing.
Take us through your perspective. Obviously, it's your first home game, and not with Plainfield as you spent last year with the team, but your first home game as a head coach. That's got to be special, no matter what the outcome of the game is, but especially when you get a great win like that.
Yeah, I mean, it was an awesome atmosphere. I don't think I've seen that many students in our student section last year, and obviously if that continues to happen, that's going to be a great home field advantage for us. And our community and our parents showed up on Friday night, and that's exactly what we want this program to be about. And we want people to come and support us and cheer us on. And having the first home game was big, and finding a way to win in the fashion we did, I hope was pleasing to our fans and something that they're proud of to go to work on Monday and hopefully talk about our young men in our program.
Yeah, I mean, I was just thinking we've literally broadcast, it seems like over the 15 years, 16 years, close to 100 games out at Plainfield. And that was one of the most enthusiastic crowds I can remember in the history of the program.
Yeah, absolutely. Those guys, having the start come at 8:00 probably helped a little bit of, maybe getting some more kids involved and getting rides to the game. So I think they opened the gate at 7. By the time we came out for pregame, that thing was half full. So kudos to our student section and to our community and parents for coming out and supporting us.
Let's thank our sponsors who make our broadcast possible all year long. CJ's Pizza and Whitlow's Towing, Gannell Financial, Remax Centerstone, Julia Burbridge, BGW Construction, Porter Hair Design, Holly Porter, My IT Indy, I-70 Wrecker Service and Garage, Ellis and Associates, Remax. All right, Coach, 2-0, and we head to Mooresville this year for the game against the Pioneers. What do they bring to the table?
Yeah, they're 1-1 right now. They got beat in week 1 versus Bloomington North, and then they won this past Friday at Danville. So their record is not what they really are. They're a really good football team. They've got some really good athletes. Obviously, Coach Gillen is a Hall of Fame coach for a reason. I think he's the third winningest active coach in the state of Indiana. So he knows what he's doing, and he's going to have his kids ready to go, especially for their home opener at Mooresville, and first mid-state conference game for all of us here in our conference. And it's just another opportunity for our program to go 1-0 and to try to get things rolling in conference play.
When you kind of look at the tape and you look at these schools, you mentioned how, hey, Harrison came out in something a little different than what we were anticipating defensively. How do you try to anticipate, hey, are we going to get what we see on film? And if we don't, what are we likely to see? Like, how much time do you put into that?
I mean, I think you got to go off of what the video is showing you. I mean, we've got games we had games on Harrison. We have games on Mooresville. It's just, it just depends on what that team wants to do to us in terms of, do I want to come out in their base defense, or do I want to come out in something different to try to throw us off on offense, or if it's something on defense where we're expecting a lot of, maybe drop back passing or a lot of inside zone run game, and then they come out and do something totally different. So you definitely have to be ready to adjust on the fly, but also, you can't. Maybe you can, I'm not sure, but you can't reinvent a whole offense, a whole defense in 1 week's time. And if you do, I'm not sure that's the recipe for success. It's not something we're going to do, but I don't coach other schools, so I can't answer for them.
When you're dealing with high school kids, and so it's, different than college, which is different than pro. When you have a big win like that, how long do you allow the kids to celebrate that and say, hey, that's great? Is there a moment on Saturday or on Sunday where you say, okay, we're done with that, next game? Or is it just kind of like a flow or a feel? Take us through that.
Yeah, I mean, obviously this past week was a little unique just because of later start time. I think the game ended around 10 o'clock, 10:15. We preach to our kids, nothing good happens after midnight, and to do right and to do your best and to show people you care. So we allowed them to sleep in a little bit yesterday, till about 9, and had them come in for a workout with Coach Vanderbush. And then we watched film from about 10 to 11, and our varsity kids were able to get out of the football building around 11 a.m. So I kind of let those guys, hey, enjoy it on Saturday. Take care of your body on Saturday afternoon and on Sunday. And by the time school rolls around on Monday, I mean, we've already flipped the page to the next week's opponent, and scouting reports have been passed out, and we've moved on as a coaching staff. You want to enjoy it as much as you can, because you only get so many of these opportunities in a given year, and you work so hard in the 12 months it takes to do that. So I don't want to take it away from the kids, because they're the ones that earned it and fought, and we're doing everything that's hard. So you definitely want the kids to enjoy it. You just want them to be smart about what they do, and come back in on Monday for school and have them be focused and ready for a new opponent.
We said we were going to ask you this during the game. After your first score, you were having a rather animated conversation with the officials on the sidelines. And we said it is very unusual when a team scores a touchdown for the coach to have a seemingly animated conversation with the officials. And I said, well, I'm going to ask him. Maybe he can tell us. Do you even remember what that was about?
If my peanut brain remembers correctly, I believe it was because of we had a penalty on our PAT formation. Yes. Where I thought we were successful in our try, and I probably expressed some joy and some cheerfulness, and then I realized that there was a flag. So then I looked like pretty, you know what I mean. So I was just trying to figure out what happened, because I didn't, in my opinion, in my mind, I didn't think anyone moved early. So I was just trying to figure out what the penalty was and who it was on, so that we could correct it, so it would not cost us again if we scored. So I was not arguing. I was not actually really even that upset. I was just trying to figure out who it was on and what we needed to do to fix it so it wouldn't happen again.
Well, it was funny because I was sitting there in the press box again. How old am I? I was like, I've seen his dad have many animated conversations with officials on the sidelines. It's like a chip off the old block.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly thought the officiating crew on Friday was really good. I think a lot of those guys do Saturday afternoon college football games. So I don't think maybe the call I don't necessarily agree with, but I mean, we all make mistakes. They're allowed to make a mistake as official. Overall, I was I was pleased with the officiating crew, and the gentleman on our sideline was very, very respectful and professional. So those guys don't have an easy job, and for me to be a first-time head coach, probably asking them 100 questions is not something maybe they would want, but that's why they get paid.
All right, let's get out of here with this as we always do. Somebody behind the scenes that makes Plainfield football what it is. Who would you like to mention this week, Coach?
Yeah, I mean this past week was extremely difficult with the heat. We had to adjust our practice times. We had to adjust what equipment we were going to wear for practices. But with constant communication with our athletic trainers, John Green and Kathy Matthews, both of them have been here for a long time. They do multiple sports. They're here way after hours, after school, but they both are invested into our student athletes. They care deeply about our student athletes. I think I told John on Wednesday night at practice, we were kind of in a holding period of whether or not we could put on helmet and shoulder pads because of the heat index. And you could tell he was visibly, upset that we were still over the range of the heat index that we couldn't. And I said, hey, John, listen, I'm not mad at you. Like you're just doing your job. Like you don't tell me how to coach inside zone. I'm not going to tell you what to do as an athletic trainer. So I have a ton of respect and appreciation for what those two people do for our program and for all of our student athletes that take care of them. They try to get them back healthy as possible to make sure that the kids have, a great experience playing football, but other sports here. So those two behind the scenes are big time for us, not in the football program, but overall in our athletic program.
Well, Coach, man, it's been a wild couple of weeks. Great start to the season, 2-0. Let's get a big win on Friday night. Look forward to seeing you there, and we'll talk to you next week.
Absolutely. Have a great week, Rob. Thank you.